You ever think about quitting?
It's the combat of life hammering the snot out of you.
Well, stand by, dig in deep, and get ready to get fired up with us.
Welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast, the #1 podcast that inspires you to fight on. I'm your host, David Rutherford, here with Mr. Never Quit himself, Marcus Luttrell.
Our mission is to help you embrace the suck of life, to teach you the values of working your ass off, and to interview the most hard-charging people on planet Earth.
We know life is hard. It's time for you to suck it up, Buttercup, and let us teach you to persevere in every environment imaginable by sharing real-world lessons learned by those who never quit. That's right. It's time, Marcus, for us to help them defeat the negative insurgency in their lives.
You fire me up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. Marcus, I'm telling you what, man, I've been waiting for another football show for a long time, dude, because I love football. If I could literally, the dream job for me, if you ask me, Madman, a question, if you could do any job in the world, it would be to coach football right now.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that we got a football player coming on. Don't look at me like that.
Who would you coach?
Well, I'd start at the high school level, right? I'd win a couple state championships.
How does it work to become a professional football coach?
You gotta high school, unless you're a pro player.
Right.
Pro players, what they do, they'll transition to a collegiate team, work till they're offensive coordinator, whatever, head coach. If they win a bowl game or have some good seasons, up to the pros. Like there's a guy that I wanted to play for.
There's not a coach
Van
college,
Gorder, huh?
Coach college. They don't have a.
No.
You know, the officers have to go. Well, I don't know, man.
Coaching college for football players?
Well, the captains have to go to up Northern Cal to get their master's degrees to progress.
In the teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a little different, bro. They're talking about geostrategic planning and
Leadership doesn't matter what it's about, right?
Yeah, but you don't need to know
battle groups around the other side of the world.
Yeah, it's not the same.
A little more complicated.
A little bit more complicated than.
Yeah, but you don't have to talk to me like I got this shit on the road, dude. It's like, yeah, that's a cute question, though. I didn't know, man.
All right. Before we jump into it, I gotta go down. All right, Marcus.
Oh, this felt like
best football movies ever. Go.
Rudy, the program.
Oh God, remember that about Florida State? Oh, dude, so good.
Necessary Roughness.
Oh,
North
Dallas 40.
North Dallas 40.
Oh.
Any given Sunday, I like the dark side kind of.
Longest Yard.
Longest Yard's great. Both of them.
Oh, you like the one with
original
Adam Sandler?
Oh well, Burt was in there.
Yeah, but it was still funny.
I like
guess.
corny ass movies, man.
What else? What else? Friday Night Lights, bro.
Yeah.
Next time you talk to Pete, dude, please give him a big hug for me.
I will.
Because, I mean, that was epic. I remember when that article came out in Sports Illustrated, dude, way back in the day. Because I was from South Florida, and just like you guys out here, football's everything, dude.
Oh, text him right now.
Does it have to be football movies?
Yes, Wizard.
What are you talking about? Does it have to be football movie? We're having an NFL player. Why? No, it's a legit question. Wizard, what kind of movies do you want to talk about with our guest being an NFL
we're talking
football?
about sports movies.
But how is that relevant to the guy who's coming on?
Because he plays sports.
Holy sweet Jesus! Did you ever play a year of football?
Well, no. What's your argument, Wizard?
He thinks we should just
about football movies, but there's also some other great sports movies.
Remember the Titans?
We have a football player. Go ahead,
dude. So good.
I know we're missing one about a
Brian
coach.
Song, old school, Rocky Blyer story.
Oh, Hoosiers, man.
Blindside. Hey, hello.
Hoosiers. What?
Invincible.
Oh, bro.
Better get that one in there.
Dude, Vince, we're sorry, bud. We love you.
Yeah,
we love
Varsity
you.
Blues.
We love you. Waterboy.
Oh, The Replacements.
Oh, so good.
That was a good one, man.
So good. Blindside. Blindside was awesome.
I like
what
We
else?
Are Marshall.
What?
Waterboy.
We Are Marshall's awesome.
Waterboy.
Oh, I said that, yeah. What else?
Waterboy? You like the Waterboy? You don't like Adam Sandler.
Remember?
How about Seabiscuit?
Oh, God, that's so good. Wait, what? Did you just say?
Gridiron Gang?
Seabiscuit.
Can we turn his mic off, dude? Let's just... Johnny Be
Mystery
Good.
Alaska. Mystery
Johnny
Alaska.
Be Good was
Remember when they played the Russians? The reckon
You know how painful this is right now with him? Dude.
sports.
But I got to admit, when I was still
Did you ever see Wildcats, Goldie Hawn?
Wildcat, it's the sport of kings.
Yeah.
Better than diamond rings.
Football.
Football. Football.
What about Last Boy
Johnny
Scout?
Sunday in the snow.
Not really a football movie.
Referees whistle blow. Football. Football. God, I love that movie.
What about Cool Runnings?
Stop,
Did you
man.
ever see the Junction Boys?
I don't know if I saw that
It's
one.
about A&M. It's good, man.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast.
Best little whorehouse in Texas.
That's not a football movie. Dude,
Remember the Aggies show up?
we are
How about
losing
Badger
it.
Vance?
We are losing it.
Hey, no, remember?
The best of times. Remember that?
Yeah,
With
Robin
Robin
Williams and,
He's-
Kurt Russell.
He missed. Yeah. Oh, dude.
Those white cleats?
Oh. And he catches the ball. God,
Can we
dude.
count Kingpin in there anywhere?
What are you
Bowling?
doing? Why do you do
Bowling is
this?
sport.
Stop.
Is bowling a sport? Question.
No.
Oh,
Yes.
you're saying,
God.
Is it a
Bless
sport? No or
America.
yes?
so is there a difference between a seal and a green beret?
You just baffled me there.
Good.
What does
you
that have
need
to do
be
with
quiet
bowling being a
then.
sport?
All right.
What does bowling have to do with?
Can I just please introduce? Can I
bowling
please
movie.
just? Can I please
My
just?
God, I just giggle like that.
Question was raised.
Welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast. I'm your host, David Rutherford, along here with Mr. Never Quit himself, Marcus Luttrell,
Jerry Maguire.
and the man who hates sports, the Wizard. All right. Listen, if this is your first time joining us, thank you. We love you. We've got a doozy in store. We've got one of the greatest all-time collegiate football players who ever play, now playing in the NFL's coming on. If you are coming to the show, we love you. If you're a return offender, God bless you. You're making our dreams come true, and you're also helping us out by spreading the Team Never Quit. So if you're on the team, do us a favor, get out there, teach your uncle, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your best friend, your neighbor. Teach them how to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes Podcast or on any other Android podcast app. Subscribe, and you can have the three of us in your head while you're practicing for the greatest game ever played, which is football. All right. There's also, if you visit our website at tnqpodcast.com, you can find a truckload of reader or listener write-in stories that will blow you away. Just pages and pages of these phenomenal stories. We also have incredible merchandise.
Merch.
Merch. We get your
Swag.
issue gear.
The gear's in.
The gear's in. Team Never Quit podcast shirts, and we're working on hats and some mugs for you as well, too. Now, Marcus, how stoked are we to pull on one of our great first sponsors, forhims.com, the one-stop shop for all types of men's issues, hair loss, skincare issues, and sexual wellness, baby. What do you think?
No, it's great. I'm excited to have them as a sponsor. And the first thing they brought to us and that we were going to talk about was hair loss. And I remember when you brought that to me, I was like, oh man, sure it is, right? And I won't.
two hairiest
I
podcasters
can't talk
on
about anything
the-
unless I've seen both sides of it.
Yeah.
So I've previously been hit by lightning, so I was thinking.
Of course you had.
All right. So I kind of did the Mel Gibson and What Women Want thing and sat back and I just kind of took the ego out of it and thought about Morgan and I first coming in as twins and being born early and starting to work out and then taking all the supplements and everything we could get our hands on, if it worked or not, to make us grow. All our lives, growing up, high school, college, even in the SEAL teams, we took supplements. We did everything we could to, if there was
Enhance
a defect or
our-
a deficiency in something, even
No,
with
we're
vitamins.
still doing it. We're still taking
Still
it.
this very
Still
day.
doing stuff like that.
So once I started thinking about it like that, like, man, if I had the hair loss problem, I would immediately go try and get it fixed. That's
The solution.
the solution, right?
And a scientific one.
Right, fix it and let's go.
Well, Wizard, tell a little
Exactly.
bit about how scientifically effective and efficient this stuff is.
Well, the stat on this I think that's most interesting is 66% of men start losing their hair by 35. So what For Hims is going to help you do is going to help you keep your hair. And the way they do it, it's already a proven method, and it's very convenient. So they're taking well-known genetic equivalents to name brand prescriptions, and they're sending it to you. So this stuff is already proven. And the other aspect is you don't have to go to the doctor's office. There's not going to be a waiting room. You're not going to have to pay all that, and you're going to save time. And being proactive about something that's really concerning you.
I dig it. Well, man, listen, our listeners right now get a trial month for Hims for just $5 today, right now while supplies last. Just go to their website at forhims.com and start filling out all the questionnaire. You'll be assigned a doctor, and within a few easy steps, you're going to get the prescription, and the products will be delivered right to your door. Again, all you got to do is go to forhims.com and / our promo code, which is TNQP. That's forhims.com / TNQP, and start combating the hair loss insurgency today. All right. Wow. We finally convinced the Wizard to get on Instagram.
No easy task.
It was not an easy task considering. Just go to Instagram, search The Wizard TNQ. We also have a podcast Instagram page now at TNQ Podcast. You can follow me at Team Frog Logic, and of course you can follow the lone survivor himself at Marcus Luttrell. Wow, that took my breath away, bro. That was like a big hit in football, the greatest sport ever. All right, Wizard, give us a little lowdown on Christian, please.
All right, Christian, best known right now as the running back for Carolina Panthers. He is from Castle Rock, Colorado. I'm going to run through the athletic career here real briefly. High school, he was a standout player. He set state records, including career touchdowns and single-season all-purpose yards. He also ran track and placed his senior year in a couple events in the state meet. Goes on to Stanford after that. He plays 3 seasons. In his first season as a true freshman, played all 13 games. Then sophomore season, he sets all kinds of records all over the place. He breaks Barry Sanders' NCAA record of 3,250 all-purpose yards, finishing 3,864. He's ranked second in the nation in rushing yards. He's All-American. He was voted Associated Press College Football Player of the Year, Pac-12 Player of the Year. He finished just shy of winning the Heisman Trophy, coming in second place in the voting in that. Goes on his junior year, led the nation in all-purpose yardage, also led the Pac-12, and then in 2017, he enters the NFL draft. He goes in the first round, 8th overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. One of the most interesting things that I found about him is his family. This is an athletic family. I'm just going to go with his father, Ed, was a former Stanford and NFL wide receiver. His mother was a former Stanford soccer player. His brother, Max, former Duke football and current 49ers wide receiver. His brother, Dylan, is a current University of Michigan quarterback. His brother, Luke, is, headed to University of Nebraska as a quarterback. His uncle, Billy McCaffrey, was a Duke and Vanderbilt basketball player. That's just...
fan
what
of
do you say about
reunions
that?
are
Right?
festive.
They're competitive, man. I would love to go to Turkey Day at their house.
I guess seniority
That's a
rules,
real
right?
game.
That's
right?
first. What are we playing first?
Yeah.
I don't know. Seniority.
They literally jock up. They have full pad contact football games at Turkey Day.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
He plays one sport. Professor's got a uniform for every one of them.
Totally.
One more thing that's really interesting to mention is recently he was just in the news because he was doing some hiking near on Castle Rock, Colorado, where he's from, and was there when a 72-year-old Dan Smoker, this guy fell about 20 feet, sustained some serious injuries. McCaffrey and his brothers were there on the scene. They were able to respond to this. They made a 911 call. You can look this up. You can listen to it on 911. I think TMZ got a hold of it. You can put it up on YouTube. But they handled this situation that basically saved this man's life. Says about this, you see something like that, you definitely have a better appreciation for life, and you take every moment in and can't take anything else for granted. So that had a large impact on him as well.
Amen to that, bro. What do you say we bring this kid on?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Booyah. Marcus, I'm going to tell you right now, brother, man, I am super fired up because I wanted to be a football player because I wanted to live this dream that this young man has been living at its full force. He has been performing at the highest level probably since the first time he strapped on his flag tags back when he was a half a year old. But I want to tell you, he's gotten there. He's proved himself. He's shattered all kinds of records out there. So I cannot wait to hear what he has to say. How about you, big guy?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready. You know, my affiliation with Exos and what I do down there, all these guys that come through the programs now. I paid attention to college football and professional football a lot. Now I do
Right?
a lot. So it's, yeah, these guys are great, man. I can't wait to get him on here and hear his side. So it's going to be fun.
What do you think? Should we bring him on?
Yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the show, Christian McCaffrey. Brother, what's up?
How's it going, man? That was a hell of an intro. That was unbelievable. Thank you.
So,
I need that intensity in the games, man. That was awesome.
oh, that's what I do, bud. That's
There's a
what I
very
do.
long line of impressive people that want him to introduce them wherever they go in life.
Nothing more than that,
Yeah.
though. They don't want me to be, a life
And then
coach
go
or
away.
any, yeah. Just you introduce me
Go
and then
back in
leave.
your hole.
Go back in that podcast hole, it never to be seen again. Well, listen, man. I know you're a busy man, and we're just so fired up. And I want to also reach out, give another big shout out to Lex McMahon, my brother, who's brought us so many incredible guests. Right, dude? I mean, Dana White, he helped us get right before the McGregor fight.
Like the fourth one, right?
He's on fire, dude. He's on fire. So I'm so proud to know him, and we thank you. We love you, Lex. Thank you. All right, Christian, before we can get into the nuts and bolts of the gridiron of your never quit story, what we have to do is we have to warm up your prefrontal cortex. I want you to prepare your brain right now for the Mad Minute. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right, here we go. Marcus, fire away.
All right, well, if every job paid the same, what would you be doing for a living?
Every job paid the same. Man, I'd be doing just what I'm doing. I love playing ball, man.
What I said, too.
That's where my heart is, so that's an easy one for me.
That was a totally easy one, and his job pays well, which is a bonus.
That's
right?
always a bonus in the whole.
It's not hurt, man. It does not hurt.
I love that. It does not hurt. All right, Wizard, fire away.
All right, would you rather get a full grill a la Lil Wayne or have fully tattooed eyebrows like the Dragon Lady at the nail parlor? You got to pick one.
Man, I'd go with the grill. I'd have to say the grill. I don't know if I could put something on my eyebrows.
I
You
mean,
wouldn't have eyebrows; you just tattoo them on.
yeah, I think that you'd look.
I could make up an excuse like it just have a lot of cavities or I had a mouth injury or something like that. I don't know if I could
Yeah,
put
you're right.
tattoos on the eyebrows.
It's a
that
much
doesn't
safer
fly. That doesn't
route.
fly at all. Oh, that's epic. All right, here you go. If you could go back in history and play on any team, any football team in history, what team would it be?
Man, I'd play. That's tough. I'd probably play for the '98 Denver Broncos. That's just where my pops played.
How cool
So,
would that be?
Being able to play that'd have been cool. And I grew up in the locker room with all those guys, so that'd have been really cool. The year they won the Super Bowl, so I'd probably go with that.
Nice. Mine is 79 Steelers, man. That's who I want. I want to play with all those knuckleheads,
That's a
dude.
badass team, man. That's been fun.
Oh, epic. All right, Marcus, fire.
All right, if you could call yourself 5 years into the future, what's the one question you'd ask?
Oh,
Damn,
man.
that's actually a hard question, bro. You're getting
5
deep.
years in the future. What would I ask myself right now, or what would I ask myself in 5 years?
No, what would you ask yourself in 5 years?
Oh man, I think I'd ask myself if I enjoyed it, if I really kind of savored it and took it all in. I think a lot of times I get caught up in, putting a lot of pressure on myself, and I never really let it soak in. And so I'm trying to work on that a little more, and not be, I guess move on to the next play, next game. I mean, I think that's what all the great players in the world and guys like you, why you excel so much, because you're never satisfied. But I hope to look back one day and know, ask myself at least if I enjoyed it. I think I for sure will. I love playing ball, but trying to work on that just a little more.
Well, just the fact that you're thinking about it right now is you're already ahead of the game, man, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just having awareness of that. All right, I got another one for you. If you could pick a sidekick to accompany you through life, what would you pick? And if you need some suggestions, I will readily provide.
I was going to say, if I needed one, who would I pick?
Yeah, every moment of your life.
Man, if I had to pick one sidekick, and I don't mean to pander to you guys at all, I'd probably pick you guys. You seem to, have, you're kind of the kind of people and just the military and SEALs in general, who I know myself and a lot of other athletes look up to and look to for wisdom, for strength. We play a game. You guys, it's, life or death. So, I'd probably have one of you guys. I think I do pretty well.
Brother, God bless you, brother. I appreciate that.
Appreciate that, man. I'm a parent now, and I got to say it like that, but the team got me like, you're damn right you did. And we'd have had a blast, brother.
I was going to say, you absolutely did not want me as your sidekick when I was in the teams because, bro, we would have been all over TMZ in about 5 seconds.
Right.
All right, Marcus, fire away.
What's your weirdest pet peeve?
My weirdest pet peeve? Oh, man, I got a lot of them. Probably when I'd have to say when people ask you questions about either your sport or what you do and have not a whole lot of idea what they're talking about, but they'll kind of talk to you as if they do. And then I also don't like when they ask you questions about like your competition or a bad play that you made, like post game.
Oh, come on, bro. You love armchair quarterbacks, bro. Come on. You love those guys.
Like, hey, what happened when you dropped the ball? Or what? I got this one in college, man. I didn't fumble a lot in college. I fumbled one game, and I'm a very competitive person, so you want to make yourself look good and be correct when it comes to answering media questions. But they're like, hey, what happened on the fumble? God, man, you have no idea how mad I'm at you right now. So I was like, well, I had the ball and then I dropped it, and I don't know how to answer that because you messed up. So you kind of want to punch him in the face, but
and that's a rhetorical question. The answer is, it's in it. So thank you. Next question. That's the answer.
Like people, you get mad. Like people, if I snap back at them, they're like, oh, he's a dick. But at the end of the day, that's probably my weirdest pet peeve. I think just any competitor can understand that.
Absolutely. All right, Wizard.
All right, man, I want to hear a sports matchup that has never happened in history, but you'd like to see. Anything.
Between myself or in general? Anything.
Well, okay, sure. Yourself or anyone else.
Ooh, I want to see the topic of conversation nowadays is LeBron MJ.
Exactly. Thank you for that.
Ever, so that would be a legendary matchup right there.
What do you think would happen?
Ooh. See, I'm not going to sit here. I know a lot of, that's probably the biggest conversation in the locker room nowadays is that you can guarantee you're going to get, who's better, LeBron or MJ conversation every day after practice. But I was never around to watch MJ, so I can't speak on it as much. I've seen highlights, and obviously I've seen a million videos, but and I was young, so rarely have I sat down and watched him in his prime, watched a full game, So I've seen a lot of LeBron, obviously, but I can't act like I'm, some basketball guru when it comes to all that stuff, but I think it'd be a hell of a matchup.
I was just recently working with a UFC fighter, and we were up in Chicago, and we were at the arena, and there's this beautiful statue of MJ, and on the sides it lists all of his accomplishments and the years with which he did it, and it is staggering. It is incredible.
I can't imagine.
But then, as the championship was going on, obviously this is being thrust out into the world daily by ESPN and every other sports network. You start to look at what LeBron has done as well, too. And I think those types of comparisons, everybody loves to do it, but at the end of the day, it's just two very different times, very different players, very different leagues, and how the way things run. You can't do it.
Oh, you talk about it forever.
Yeah.
Because every generation changes. Basically, if they don't have anything else to talk about at the time, you can always talk about that.
Well, it's like us talking, all right, who was badder, SEALs from Vietnam or SEALs today?
There's
And
no
Carlos
answer.
Hathcock versus Chris Kyle.
There's no
Chris.
answer.
Yeah, true. It's funny though. I remember it's funny. He brings up the Jordan LeBron thing, but it used to be like Wilt Chamberlain versus Michael Jordan back when Jordan was just in the middle of his career. I remember those conversations.
Magic Johnson,
I'd
Michael
like to see
Jordan, for
Mayweather
sure.
and Pac-Man. I wish that would have happened.
Ooh, that would have been good.
Ooh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
All right, here we go. Last question, Marcus. Fire away.
Favorite superhero?
Favorite superhero, man. I'm a Batman guy. Love Batman. Always been a big fan. I think Dark Knight Rises are two of my favorite movies in the world. So
That was good.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Now,
pick Batman.
why Batman, though? Why Batman?
I think Batman because I love the fact that he's got no one knows who he is. Deep down inside, I kind of like that aspect. He keeps quiet, and he displays this image out to everybody. Everybody thinks they know who Bruce Wayne is, but deep down they have no idea. And I like how he's like a silent. What do they say? A silent guardian.
Yeah.
Watchful protector. I love that how he's he doesn't have to say much. He just even puts a mask on to hide it. But I think he's a genuine superhero. I like Deadpool too, but I think Batman.
Awesome.
Hell, that's exactly what it is. You know why he shows up.
Yeah.
You're screwing up. There's
Yeah,
no talking
absolutely.
about it. We don't. It's like if Batman's standing in front of you, it's
Right.
because you screwed up.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you very much for your participation and the always difficult but endlessly hilarious Mad Minute. We appreciate it. But Christian, in all honesty, man, the reason we wanted to bring you on is we wanted to give some different insight from a different perspective from you and what you've experienced in your life. So without further ado, would you please, if you could, share with our listeners your greatest never quit story or stories?
For sure, yeah. I mean, I play football, for the listeners who don't know, obviously, and it's a game. So, it's funny. I got SEALs asking me what my hardest story is, or my never quit story is. It's nothing compared to what you guys do. Like I said, man, I mean, I think anybody in the military has the utmost respect in the world, and unfortunately, in today's era, not enough respect in our country. But my stories are a little bit different, but I think can definitely share some weight, especially to a lot of listeners. I've been playing ball since I was 7. I know it's a physical sport, so I've played through just about every injury you can imagine. I remember there's been multiple times. I think that Rose Bowl year, my sophomore year, was a never quit thing for our whole team. Just like anything else, you got to be successful. It requires a team. Even in those individual sports, I know it's just you against someone else, but you have coaches, you have teammates that push you. I'm huge into the UFC and into fighting. A lot of the guys that I train with are fighters. So, even they say, yeah, we got a lot of guys pushing each other, and our team did well today. And I think that Rose Bowl year, we lost our first game against Northwestern, and we were counted out, unranked for the 6 games. And you can read every article under the sun, and I've been counted out pretty much my whole life when it comes to being an elite player. I was always good, but it's been one of those things where I felt like I've always had to prove myself in every single level of football that I've been in. It takes time, and I got lucky in college. I had a coach who believed in me and who gave me a shot. I was feisty, and I felt like I've always had a chip on my shoulder. And being a running back from Colorado, especially white running back from Colorado, there's not a whole lot of us out there. So
I think it's just
I
you,
think-
actually.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know if there is a whole lot more, but I kind of had to break a few stereotypes here and there about is he fast enough, is he big enough, is he strong enough, all this, and I felt like I've always had to prove myself and push through, and it used to really piss me off, but I've learned now, man, that I know myself better than anybody. And if you do that, if you know yourself and if you know how hard you can push yourself, you'll get the most out of you. When you start to worry about exterior things, it makes it a lot harder because your focus is turned from succeeding and from being the best, player you can be to irrelevant people. So, that's always been a never quit thing where I've had to silence a lot of doubters, and so far it's worked. And, even today you have a lot, and you'll never not have some. So that's the beauty of sports. That's the beauty of life in general is, you get to prove a lot of people wrong, and the best part about it is you get to prove yourself right. And so that's always meant a lot to me. But actually, that's kind of my football side. But off the field, I've had to deal with a few things. Actually, this past summer, last off season, I was big outdoors dude, loved to fish and hunt and hike and do all that stuff. So I was with my brothers and a few of my buddies were hiking up a trail, and I live in Castle Rock, Colorado. There's an actual rock that you can climb up, and we took about 10 minutes to walk up. The timing of it was pretty unbelievable. We stopped and got some waters first, and weren't going to do it originally. It's kind of a last-minute deal, and we start walking up this hill and sit down on a bench for about 5-10 minutes, and so we end up continuing up the trail, and we get to the point where the base of the actual rock is about probably a 60-foot rock, and so you can climb up, you can climb down. It's not hard. There's some parts that if you want to get risky, you can free climb them, but there's I don't do any of that. I don't think that's in my contract. So,
Smart man.
Any of that, but so we turn the corner and we see about 25 feet up, 72-year-old man who's hiking with his 13-year-old grandson falls backwards. I mean, this is a directly vertical cliff and lands on a boulder, hits on a boulder. And I mean, I heard every single bone snap in his body. I thought he had splattered, on the ground. And you think you know what to do in a situation like that as, just a regular human being. But I tell you, I was shook. So we did all we could do and call 911. I was with one of my buddies, Mike. And, we're trying to hold the guy's head up. His eyes are rolling back. He's wheezing for air. Pulse stopped a couple times, and I'm like, there's no way that he's dead in 30 seconds. I mean, I thought he died on impact, let alone he wasn't dead. So I called 911, and I'm sitting there freaking out. We're all freaking out.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to stay calm and do the right thing. And there was one other guy there who was holding his head straight, so he didn't lose oxygen or anything. And paramedics came what it felt like about 45 minutes, but they got there. I looked at the call log; it was 11 minutes by the time I called, and the time they came up with and actually had him there. So
wow,
they did a hell of a job. Yeah, it was pretty unbelievable. And long story short, he lived and he's not paralyzed, and he's walking now. That was 5 months ago. The guy's walking now. I mean, so when I talk about never quitting, this is a 72-year-old man with his grandson. His grandson Eli was a trooper, man. I mean, this kid handled it like a pro. Unfortunately, their parents couldn't be there. They were in San Diego for their wedding anniversary, so we ended up staying with the kid and making sure everything was all right. But I like to think that gave me a whole new perspective on life and a whole new appreciation for it. You got a guy who's literally fighting and not quitting for his life, and I love listening to your guys' stories too, because it puts a whole other perspective on it. When it's life or death, it's not the same as a win or loss. So, so he's talking, man. He's walking now. I'm taking him out there for their Ohio guys, so I'm flying him out to the Cincinnati game this year. But that was one thing where we kind of just sat over there and didn't know what to do other than sit there and say a prayer and hope the best. So that was one thing where something like that happens. It's definitely traumatic, but looking back, I mean, that'll motivate you to not quit, man. When you see a guy like that who just he ended up internal bleeding in his brain, broke his neck in 3 places, cracked his femur in half. I think he broke 9 ribs in half. One of them punctured his bladder, and
wow,
he had internal bleeding in his gut, and the whole deal. So it's cool that he's here now and that he's thriving. So I know you guys got a whole bunch of those stories, but for me, that was when you see it in person, that was that was probably my best never quit story that I've seen.
Well,
That's a prime example. I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
prime
please.
example of you don't have to be a Navy SEAL to be the toughest SOB on the planet, man. It's a mind and body thing, and the body is such a resilient machine. Even if it falls down a damn mountain and gets all broken up on the inside, if it has time, it'll heal, and it wants to stay alive,
Right.
especially if it has a purpose. So yeah.
Well, that and listen to the call. You did a pretty level-headed job there, so he was lucky to have you around.
Yeah, I mean, I think the timing of it was I mean, like I said earlier, it was unbelievable. We got lucky that we were there. Otherwise, I don't know who was gonna, help him out. I mean, we didn't save a life by any chance, but I like to think that there was a reason why we turned the corner at the time we did.
Amen.
Always a reason.
Always. Well, Christian, let's back up a second because, you painted this great picture of the man's grandson and, him handling it. And obviously there was some influence in that young man's life, but you had also referenced before the influence of being in the locker room with your father and basically growing up as he played professional football. And what's amazing to me is your humility. I mean, anybody that breaks Barry Sanders' NCAA record of, 3,250 all-purpose yards in a season, and not mention it, and that's a big, huge deal. And it's driven by work ethic, in my opinion. Can you take us back to being that kid, being that 7-year-old kid, and starting to play football? Where were your influences coming from, and how did you really learn your work ethic?
Well, I think I definitely learned it from my mom and my dad. They earned everything they have in this world, and I was fortunate enough to grow up in a household where, we were fortunate, and but at the same time, my parents never babied us, and they made us earn everything as well. They wanted to put us in the best positions to succeed, but by all means, they were very hard on us in the best way. And looking back, that was the greatest thing for me as a kid. I had 3 brothers, still have 3 brothers, not had, but my three brothers are my best friends in the whole world, and we were always competing, always doing everything together. And as much as I can, attribute all my success to this and that, they're the sole purpose that I've had the success I have, and we push each other every single day, man. I mean, as soon as we got home from school, it was finish the homework or tell my mom we did and pretend to, and we were going out and playing 2-on-2 or playing knee football, tackle football, whatever it was, we were always doing together. So we always made it our purpose to whatever we wanted to do in life, whether it was music or art or football, that we were going to do it 100%. I think that's the only way to live, man. I attribute a lot of that to my parents and my brothers.
One of the great things that I always hear, whether I'm working with collegiate teams or pro teams or whoever it is it's very difficult when there are certain people on the team that are struggling, right? There's a lot of negativity in their life, and they end up bringing the team down. Now, you seem like you've always been, as I look back throughout your career, the kind of the catalyst for positivity. Why is that so important, and where did you learn that from?
Oh, I think I've learned it from trial and error, really. I've been on a lot of teams where had a lot of talent, and it was a shame that we lost because we were the best team, physically, and no one could stop us talent-wise, but we lost to a team that was a lot worse than us. I've been on multiple teams like that, and I've learned when it becomes about you and about exterior things and about the stats and about anything else but just winning and whatever you got to do to win, you lose, and you're going to get beat. It doesn't matter. And I think that's the part of sports that's so beautiful, is that it's not always the most athletic, the biggest, strongest, fastest guy that wins. It takes a lot more than that. And so I've learned through trial and error. I've been on some teams, and I mentioned the Rose Bowl team. It was my first start of my career. My coach believed in me, and we had the same backfield as my freshman year, and I was a little bummed I wasn't playing my freshman year. And so he said, all right, you're the starter my sophomore year. And I was extremely excited. We lose our first game in Northwestern. It was an unranked team. We were ranked, I want to say, top 10 to start the year. And we lose, and, I didn't play very well. And so, man, I'm going to get benched. And Kevin Hogan, our quarterback at the time, sat me down. He's like, look, man, you're the best player on this team. And whether I believed that then or not, for him to say that as, a 4-year starter meant a lot to me. And he said, you're the best player on this team, and we're going to need you, and we're going to be a hell of a team. So, let's keep going. Wipe it. And I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. A guy like that who, he'd been starting for 4 years. He's won a Rose Bowl before and played in big-time games and, top 10 matchups, all that. So for him to tell me that meant a lot. And I learned something from that, man, when I'm moving on, if I ever see something like that happen again, that's how I'm going to handle it. Because of the way it made me feel, it encouraged me to, there's one thing if a guy's given bad effort, then you got to get on him. You have to. That's the right way to handle that. But, if guys are trying hard and they're just, whether they're not executing correctly, there's other ways to fix them. You don't always got to get on guys. You might have to get on them, but it's got to be productive, instead of just yelling them. So you can yell at them, but yell at them productively. And I don't know, that meant a lot to me. So that's pretty much where I've learned that it takes a whole group to win games, man. It's not one guy. So, I think I can tell a million stories about, great leaders that I've played with and who have really done a good job at that.
Well, that'd be awesome if you could. Could you tell us, probably your two most influential coaches and your two most influential teammates that you've worked with?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. My strength coach at Stanford, Shannon Turley. I've seen him, he's turned a lot of boys to men. That's a
that's
heck
awesome.
of a guy right there. And I thank him from the bottom of my heart. I don't know if he'll listen to this or not, but he's a hell of a guy. He does so much more than just be a strength coach. He really does shape people into men. And I think when you look at Stanford, it hasn't, been a dominant football school over the years. It really's been an academic school. That's what it's an academic school. They don't care about football. And he came in and he changed the attitude of that real quick. And, to be able to be coached by him and just to, he's a guy that you want to fight for. And this is a strength coach. This isn't even a football coach, but, he demanded so much respect and he got the best out of you. I think that's why everybody liked him so much. They didn't always like him, but they always respected him. And if you can earn respect, then I'll fight for you, man. And that's a guy that we all fought for. We all kind of bought in. So that's definitely one of them. Another influential coach I've had was very similar to him, my Little League running back coach, Dwayne Charrington. I know it's funny, Little League, man, I swear you learn a lot of lessons in Little League.
Dude, one of my Little League coaches was Mike Phipps from the Cleveland Browns, and I'll never forget.
Oh, yeah.
My second year playing Pop Warner, I was quarterback, and we had an 85-page playbook, man, and he would speak, and it was like God speaking.
Same voice and everything.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. But that's another coach, man. He was great. He would always get on us, and he was kind of our hype man, but he was also a great coach. I'll never forget him. Two most influential teammates, man. I would say I play with a lot of them right now. In Carolina. You got guys like Luke Kuechly and guys like Ryan Cleo and Greg Olson who are great guys to play with. Great leaders and everybody on the team really guys. Guys like Cam. I know Cam's got a lot of different perceptions about him, but he's a guy that when you see him off the field, he's the same way. And a lot of people don't see the work he puts in. And guys like that, man, when you have guys that you they're working, and you'll fight for them. And so guys like that, I think Kevin Hogan and a guy that's really pushed me has been Bryce Love. I played with Bryce at Stanford. He was a year younger than me. He was a Heisman finalist last year. Calling it, he's going to win it this year. And he pushed me right at the gate. I had just kind of got my starting role, and I was playing well my sophomore year. And here I noticed this kid behind me who was balling in practice. He's making moves that I'm like, I need to copy that. So he would push me to really, be better and continue to push me and help me not get complacent with myself.
Very cool. Very cool.
Something we talk a lot about on the show is transitions, but usually it's like in a military context, getting out and going another career. However, I'm interested about your transition, for example, that you just went through going from collegiate to professional and doing a transition where you're going up a level and dealing with that. And could you tell us a little bit about maybe any struggle or difficulty things you had to focus on going through that transition?
Yeah, I think, the unknown is always uncomfortable, whenever you're transitioning. So for me, going from, the West Coast to the East Coast, you don't know anybody on the team. It's different, but you can get used to that. I think the biggest difference and the hardest thing not hardest, but just most unique thing I had to deal with going from college to pro is you're playing with, guys that are a lot older than you. And you got guys with families, and it's such a business. You see, Sunday game day and all the fun everybody's having. It's great, but it's a business. I think I saw something the other day. Average lifespan in the NFL is I think less than 3 years.
Yep, that's right.
So there's guys coming in and out every day. A lot of guys say NFL stands for not for long because you see the top name guys, but at the end of the day, there's 53 guys on a roster in each team, and you start with about 100. So half of them are going to get cut by the time you finish with training camp. So it's a lot harder to get close to people. I tell a funny story. I played with Julius Peppers in NFL Street and Madden all back in the day, man. When I was a kid, he got drafted. I was 5 years old, and so I got pictures of him on my wall and SI, all that, man.
What did he say when you said that to him? Did you drop that line on him?
Oh, he doesn't. I have not said that to him. I don't think he knows that unless he's going to listen to this podcast. But
he just puts it into perspective, right? When you're standing around,
he's 6'8", 300 of all muscle, freak athlete. And I used to kill people with him in NFL Street and get up talking smack in the video game. And I walk in the locker room the day after I get drafted, and they're going to look at my jersey, which is great. And I look to the left, I'm like, man, that's Julius Pepper's locker. Like, oh my God! It kind of came full circle that this is you're with the dogs now, and but once you get to playing, it's just football. It's the same sport you've been playing since I was 7 years old, and I think that's like any transition. It starts out different. You might meet different guys, and you got a different system, whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's let's move the ball forward and try to score, and it's the same at every single level.
That's a great point. One of the things that I spent some time working with the Miami Dolphins, and one of the things I learned from their director of player engagement was just, because of that short lifespan, guys, really young players coming in, they aren't thinking about what's next, what's afterwards. And hopefully at Carolina, you guys in the modern era, in the modern world, you're beginning to think about, how do I take this wonderful platform, all these incredible lessons I've learned by making it to the top of my profession, and taking them and really having a greater impact? Because, if I'm not mistaken, the incident you went through last year, and what I've seen and read in some of your interviews are, man, you have a different outlook on stuff. So could you talk to us and our listeners a little bit about thinking about that and where you're at and what's going to come in the future for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you kind of touched on it. Whether people like it or not, you play a pro sport, you're going to have a platform, and whether or not you want to make it, a positive platform or not is up to you. But, I think you see so many guys around the league who are doing so many great things, whether it's, stuff with, inner city schools or, stuff with the military or stuff with, you name it. I don't know what, but there's all over the place. And, I think that's really the purpose, because at the end of the day, this game is great. It's my favorite thing to do in the world. I want to play forever if I can, but I'm also smart enough to know it ends. And, people forget you, they're going to forget about you. And so I think what you do with the time you have is extremely important. And, I like to think we have a huge platform. I think, to me, the biggest sin in the world right now is that guys like you, and more guys like you don't have that same, platform, because, I know I talk to a lot of guys on our team, and you guys are the most respected people in the world. And so I think it's our, pretty much duty to at the very least have some kind of positive impact on the world. And I take that seriously. I think my dad, always told me that. And, it's hard because you want to focus on the task at hand, not worry about the outcome. But at times you got to see the bigger picture and realize what it's all about.
Amen.
We appreciate you saying that, and that's a very powerful outlook on life. I want to kind of switch here, and this is probably not necessarily directly related to any Never Quit story, but it's more of a curiosity, because looking at your, specifically one of the most interesting aspects, I think, to looking at your story here is your family. And you already mentioned your brothers and how that, the impact of that pushing each other growing up. But, we kind of touched on this in the intro, but your father, mother, 3 brothers, uncle, they all played at a high collegiate level, and then if not professional. How do you explain that? This is not just genetics. What is it within your family that is breeding this success? I'm sure you've thought about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly a really hard question to answer, because I'm not sure what's different about our family than others, because I haven't been in anybody else's shoes, but I can speak for our family that we're unbelievably competitive. And I know a lot of people say that, but it's very, very true that pretty much everything we ever did was competing. And, my dad didn't care what we did, but he always made sure that we were going to do it at 100%, and then we weren't going to give anything less. Otherwise, he'd make us stop playing and find something else to do. But we all kind of fell in love with sports, and I think just, you are who you surround yourself with, and we're always surrounded, by each other. And so, you start to implement these habits that you've been doing since you were little, working hard, staying after hours, pushing people. You're just always trying to be the best on your team, the best in the league, the best at whatever you were doing. We wanted to be the best. And, my older brother was the best in certain things, and I wanted to be better than him. And my little brother it's just kind of a stem of a positive, competitive atmosphere that we grew up in. And I think that's a huge reason why.
Well, that certainly makes sense. I mean, we can understand that pursuit of excellence, even though it may be impossible in the culture of the teams.
Absolutely. Sure. I think
the dynamic's almost exactly the same. Exactly the same.
I'm sure.
Hey, Bubba, I remember the day I met you, man. Game day over here is like church on Saturdays, right? And I came walking in. My brother was already, he's here before I even get up, prepping everything. And I come walking in, and Stanford's on the television. I'm just like, hey, why the hell Stanford on the television? Why are we watching the Stanford game? He's like, you got to watch this kid, McCaffrey. I was like, what? Is he good? He goes, just watch. I go, if they kick it off to him, he's going to run it straight back. No questions asked, just as slick as, like my brother does. I'm whatever, man. Like, comes out, I was like, Stanford. I was like, oh, man, look at this white boy. Kind of doing that number right there.
Yeah, totally.
Sure enough, you ran it just like he said, all the way back straight in like it was nothing. And from that, I've been watching you and Stanford ever since. And just to watch your progression to that quiet professional, right? I just came in. The guy who throws the helmet on is not the guy who walks out of the locker room. And when I try and talk to the guys, I'm like, it's literally when you throw that on, you can become any animal you want, any kind of beast that you want. And when you were saying that, as we go along, we have all the best players, but we don't ever win. I'm like, that's because the best players don't make the best team. That's not how that works. Have you ever run across a bunch of old fat dudes who've been together forever and they work your ass on the basketball court or the handball or whatever it is, and they're breathing and dying and drinking beer or blowing cigar smoke in your face? It's because in college football, man, it's kind of the honing of the physical and the mental abilities into the life that you're actually going into. We call it a game. It's not that anymore, man. It's very much a life because it's how it's integrated into our families on Sundays. I don't have to go to church on Sundays when the season's on, so it's kind of one of those deals. And the difference between when you come out of the college into the pros, you're not learning how to play the game, man. You learn how to play the people. because the game is still going to be the same rules and everything like that. But the people, after a while in that league, what they have is experience, and that is a world that added, man, old age and experience will whip your ass every damn time. That's a real thing. So when you have the wherewithal to understand that, come in, keep your mouth shut, and NFL is not for long. That's the ones who are going in there and trying to change and make their name. They want to be remembered afterwards. You go in there trying to be remembered for that day because you don't know if you're going to see the next.
Amen.
It's something that guys like you, when you get in there, man, because of your intelligence and your upbringing and how much you care about the game, and it's become part of your life, man, you're going to do wonderful things in the league, not only for yourself, but for everybody around you. A lot of valuable lessons in what you said.
I appreciate it, man. That means a lot coming from you, man. Seriously. Thank you.
Well, Christian, tell us what's next, or what you're doing. Do you have any foundations or organizations that you like to promote at all, so our listeners can check those out?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we just got done with my dad started a camp about 9 years ago with a couple people called Dare to Play, and it's a camp for individuals with Down syndrome, a football camp that we do every year. It's a blast. So doing one next year too. I want to move it out to Charlotte too this next year. So I'll start thinking about that. But other than that, I stay pretty involved around the Charlotte area with some different stuff, some other stuff here in Colorado as well that we do. But right now that we just kind of finished with that, and I'm in kind of train mode right now. So everything right now is focused on getting ready for camp. But next off season is when we'll amp back all the charity stuff again.
That's awesome, man. That is so cool. Well, listen, we just can't thank you enough for coming on board with us and sharing your insight and your story. I think, there's so many people out there bashing your generation, and I think you are setting quite the standard, and hopefully people will listen to what you're saying, and they'll take it to heart, and they'll be more committed to their teams and to working hard and to be competitive in their lives, because life is a competition. So thank you very much, Christian.
Oh, thank you guys. Seriously, I really appreciate you having me on. Like I said, you guys are the ones that a lot of us look up to. So when they asked me to do it, I jumped at it, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
That's cool.
I'm glad to see you. Hopefully we could see you on the field.
Yeah, for sure.
Go hang out for the game or something like that.
If you guys ever had a game, let me know.
Will do.
Fun.
All right, brother. God bless you and your family. Take care.
Take care. Sounds good. All right, guys.
I mean, most early 20 kids, I remember when I was 23, man, and I was in Buds, I was a knucklehead, dude. This dude, he's got his shit together, bro. What do you think, man?
Oh, yeah. I do that a lot, too, when we run across the younger guys and girls are coming on here at 23, 24, go a lot younger than that. Guys climbing Everest and everything in between, right?
Jordan Romero.
And it's a true testament to that generation because, I mean, obviously he's out in the spotlight, and I have a millennial in the house. So, I mean,
by the way,
they are smart.
Hold on. By the way, and I know I bring this up every time, but I have to. I mean, just for general purpose, the fact that Hunter is an intern at the Chive this summer, you were already legendary status as a stepdad, right? But now, dude.
Oh, I didn't even think about it like that. That's some cool points for the stepdad status, huh?
Bro, it's the Chive.
It is a Chive.
Did he build a golden altar to you for Father's Day?
That's what it should be.
Sacrifice a cat. Like a scene straight out of Moses.
Dude, he posted a picture the other day in a American flag onesie with some attractive lady next to him, dude.
The best part about my oldest boy, Hunter, for those of you who don't know who he is, he's in college right now, and like Red saying, intern at the Chive. He's such a great kid, or a young man.
Solid.
I mean,
kid.
I had something like, hey man, if you want to go get in trouble so I can yell at you a little bit, that's cool. Because I've only had to discipline him like 3 times his entire life.
Forever.
And the older he gets, the more he acts like the man, the more I treat him like one. That's how I was raised too. And,
Yeah.
But he is all that celebrity, all those craziness supposed to go with a celebrity life that I didn't get a chance to live.
Yeah. He's getting it.
Full
dose.
Danny.
Full dose.
We were at Super Bowl one year, and Melly and I were at one of the parties, and it was probably about felt like 2 a.m., more like 8:30. I guess the sun went down. Melly like, ready to go, babe?
I know that feeling.
Yeah, you want to go, hun? And she's like, yeah, but Hunter, I'm sure he wants to hang out and see all this. Wahlberg, I got him. I'm like,
wait, what?
Yeah. Wahlberg was sitting on this fountain on his phone. We're having this conversation. He looks over, like, I got him. I'm like, all right. I mean, my son gets power. And I think even the next morning, he's like, hey, Hunter, I had a great time last night. I'm like, don't even say.
I don't even want to know.
Don't even tell your mother. I don't even want to know, man. I was like, she won't even let me roll around with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, so our generation coming up is phenomenal. And I just think, Christian, man, God bless you for keeping your head on straight. I know you're going to do great things in the NFL, but better yet, I know you're going to do great things in life. If this was your first show with us at T&Q Podcast, man, hoo-yah, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you got a big dose. If you're coming back, man, we absolutely love you. Thank you so much. If you want to know more about it, what we do, please check out our website at T&Q Podcast, where you can find all kinds of great information. You can find great T-shirts, swag. All right, you can also...
And other cool stuff.
Merchandise is in.
Merchandise in. You can also follow us along on social media. Marcus is at Marcus Luttrell. I'm at Team Frog Logic. The Wizard is at the Wizard. No, just at the Wizard T&Q. I always butcher that. Sorry, brother. All right. Now, one of the great places that we have
perfectly okay
is we have this great section on the website where people write in their greatest never quit stories. So we've got a doozy for you today. All right, here we go. This is from Tracy. This is not my story, but the never quit story of my hero. And I'm sorry this is a little long, but she deserves for her entire story to be told. And it starts at her very beginning. She was the product of rape. Her mother was raped by someone in the family, the person that raised her as her father. And she still is not 100% sure who her real father is. She grew up in a household with 2 alcoholic parents, and for the most part had to take care of herself from a very young age. She also had to raise her 2 younger sisters. She would have to walk to the local bar to take cash from her parents in order to go to the store to buy food, or else her parents would spend it all on drinking. However, she didn't let any of it stop her. She was a model student, active in the drama club and at the church, and became an amazing trumpet player in the school band. As a teen, she met her soulmate, even though his family treated her bad, telling her she was a gold digger and no good. They themselves were far from wealthy. She never let them get her down. They were together all through high school and ran away together as soon as they graduated. They married in Georgia while he was going through infantry school. He had joined the Army after seeing John Wayne in the Green Berets. Shortly after arriving to their first duty station, Fort Bragg, she herself became a victim of an assault and rape. She did not let this ruin her, though, instead growing stronger from it and becoming a mother of 2 during their time in North Carolina. Their life together was not easy by any means. They ended up getting divorced and moving on. However, after they both ended up moving back home to New Mexico, they began dating again and ended up getting married again. Starting their new lives together was a struggle. He was a welder in the oil field of southeast New Mexico. They moved to a new house in a little town at least once a year. 1 year was spent living in a 19-foot camper in her sister's backyard with 2 small children, but they never quit on each other again. She never quit on him, even when his alcoholism took him to drinking 3 cases of beer a day. And as their children grew older, they finally became stable and stopped moving around. Through all the fighting and drinking and him almost dying from the alcohol, through all the foreclosures and bankruptcies and struggle, she never quit on him. After their kids graduated and left home, her daughter got married and became pregnant. They themselves were not stable and ready for kids. So they asked my hero and her husband to take the baby for a little while until they could take care of themselves. That was 16 years ago, and my hero has since adopted that baby as her own kid. In 2008, her husband, her soulmate, her love of her life since she was a teenager, died of cancer. Apparently, being an oil field welder was very bad for your health. After he hid the cancer for more than a year, she finally found out when the doctor accidentally let it slip out one day. She never quit on him through all of his illness. After he died, a close friend of theirs helped her deal with the loss, and they eventually began dating. During this time, she was being stalked by someone who would break into her home and leave rose petals all over her bed and room. One morning, she went to take the garbage outside, and he was waiting on the porch with a log from the firewood stand and attacked her and beat her with the log. She survived and got training and received her CCW license. For months, this man was stalking her and terrorizing her. One night, the motion alarm went off and the lights outside turned on. She went out the back door to see what was going on, and he was there again, waiting to attack her. She drew her pistol and fired before he could get her. The man fled and never returned. The cops know she hit him because they followed his blood trail to where his car was parked. They later found out he made it to Mexico before dying of his wounds. Not too long after this, her and her new boyfriend got married. They are wonderful together and love to travel around and take cruises together. Then it happened again. Her second husband died of cancer. Through all of this, she never quit on life and on her God. She ended up writing a book that has been published that helps people, men and women, who lose a spouse. It isn't a woe is me, my life sucks book. It is to help with all the stuff you can't think about when you're grieving. While dealing with all of this, she also became an ordained minister and grief counselor and travels to sites of disasters like tornadoes and hurricanes to help people find hope. Her adopted daughter goes with her to help children. They're an amazing team. They go on yearly mission trips to spread the word of Christ and to help those less fortunate than themselves. Through all of these trials and all the heartache and all the struggles she grew up with, she never quit on life. She never quit on God. Today she is a teacher, an ordained crisis minister, a mom to a high schooler, and grandmother to 5 kids. Oh, and did I mention she's also my mom? Yes, my hero is my mom. She is the reason I am the man I am today. My father was a good person and a real good dad and taught me a lot. But it was watching and learning from her that shaped the kind of father and husband I have become. Watching her while growing up, I saw her never quit attitude. I learned how to take hits, stand up, and push through to the other side even stronger than before. I wake up each day hoping that I can accomplish something that day to make her proud of the man I've become. She is my ultimate never quit inspiration. I know this was long, but thank you for reading this, Tracy. Holy sweet Lord.
Wow.
That woman is amazing, bro. Can you believe that?
Moms, right?
Moms. Amen.
Committed to the very end, right?
Never quit. I mean, that's
Committed
the definition.
To the very end.
To the very
All
end.
women out there, they need to know they can take twice as much as a man can. Physical pain and mental pain for that matter. And then they can get a good cry and get it out and just
reset.
and reset and keep going. And it's that motherly instinct, man. Nothing matters more than you. Your mom always love you, man. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
No matter how much you screw up, doesn't matter. Your mom always love you.
That's the truth, isn't it?
You wonder why I got mine parked right over it.
Right down the road.
Mama's boy, right?
Absolutely. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for writing in. I also want to thank God, my life, Christ, my endless sunshine, my girls, my family. I want to thank Christian, man. God bless, young man. I hope you keep doing the great things. I want to thank our listeners. Man, without you guys, we wouldn't have the show. I want to thank you too for everything you do to help me live out my purpose.
Christian, hey, young buck, man, you got a good head on your shoulders. You got a good perspective of what's in front of you, man. You're going to do great things. We're looking forward to watching that go down. Thank you again for coming on here. It's been a joy to watch you play, man. I continue to watch you play. Tracy, everybody should write. We should just ask every person who comes on here to tell a story about their mom.
Right? That's a good idea.
Because it is. Some of the hardest times is always that, I don't know, man, mom, right? Just mom. So thank you for telling that story. We'll go down and hug my mother right now.
Awesome.
I'm out.
Out.
Never quit. Team Never Quit. Team Never Quit Radio.